Hey guys, hello everyone. Okay, I see already a few people already in here. Hey guys, hey Felix, hey Kai, hey Noman. Let me go just through my checklist. So, yeah, I wanted to play some music because, yeah, that's not possible because I'm having now my iPhone here. That's how you can see me, because I wanted to have it from the iPhone and not from the computer, because this would mean I would have to enable audio from the screen that I share, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, hopefully we'll have music next time. Hello, Adrian. Nice that you're here as well. All right. Okay, I think let's dive right into. Hello, Martin, as well. And yeah, so that's my real first stream today. And as mentioned on Twitter and in the description, I'd like to start a little side project today with you together. I have it in my head for quite some time now and waited for a good moment to start. And yeah, so now I'm giving streaming a try. I think it's a good idea to start with something real from scratch. So I thought it would be a good idea to start with this project today. So let me bring in here my screen. So here we go. I hope it's big enough for you to read. Just let me know if everything is fine with the voice, with the cam, with the code. Can you read and see everything good? I think I'll wait 1 or 2 minutes to see that this is fine before I'm going to start. And yeah, by the way, yeah, I'll try to make this kind of conversation with you guys, because of course, yeah, I'm doing this for you too. I hope that you can help me with some of the things that I do, because yeah, of course, I don't know everything out of my head. So yeah, I could give you some insights in about how I work, and yeah, and I hope we can do this at some point, together, and let's see where we go. Of course, I have a little bit prepared for today, so I have some ideas of how and where we want to start. Okay, seems that everything is good. Code could be 1 or 2 points bigger. Okay, let me try to do this. I have right now the presentation mode enabled, that's why it's pretty hard for me to read all those sidebars here. Let me see if I can find the settings here. Okay, presentation mode. Let's change this to maybe 32. Apply it. I'm not sure if we'll see it right away, so let's get out of the presentation mode and re-enter it again. That's always something that I'm not satisfied with PHP Storm, that switching font sizes and presentation mode, that doesn't work like every time, and this is a little bit of annoying. So, okay, I think that's now a little bit bigger. So I hope that's fine for everybody. Font size of my settings is perfect. Yeah, and I know that you like this. Like that, Adrian. Okay, so the plan for today, so you probably have already seen it before in my console. The project is called Refactoring PHP. And about a month back, I wrote an article about refactoring PHP where I shared some of my main favorite tips and tricks and how I like to approach refactoring. This article, a lot of people liked it, and that's why I thought it's maybe a nice idea to build something around it. So the goal for this little project is to build a little platform where people can register, log in, and then provide a code example. So like a code snippet, like a function or a class. And then they ask, the other people, okay, this is what I have. How do you refactor this? And then everybody who's also registered can see this example and then provide some examples of how they would refactor the code. And in the end, we hopefully have for every code example a few different versions of how we could refactor them. And of course, refactoring is always something that is connected to what are your ideas to refactoring. Do you want it to be simple? Do you want it to be better maintainable? Do you want it to be more abstracted? So there are different ways to refactor. And I hope that, we can share some examples of how we refactor and see some good examples there. So that's the rough idea of what I want to do. And I always like to start with a little things for when I do a new project. Okay, what are most important things to get started? What is like what does the MVP look like? So for this, I would like something like a visitor can see store examples. So let's say we have a few examples in our database from some users who provided them, and then the visitor who comes to the page, this Cedar, see those examples, can see these examples. So that's the most important thing. And then also maybe visitor can see stored solutions for this example. You can see we have two code snippets, and for both we have two provided solutions. Then a visitor can go to the site and see those two solutions as well. And then next, an authenticated user can submit a code example. So as you can see, I always try to think on those kind of features and how I want to start my application by thinking about what is the user able to do. The user can see stored examples, the user can see stored solutions, and then an authentic user can submit a code example. And then maybe also an authenticated user can see or can submit solutions. Authenticated, something like this. So I think that's the most important part of things that of a project when I want to start it. I'm just checking. Stream is lagging quite a bit. Okay, I don't know how this is. If this is related to my laptop, which is pretty slow, maybe it's a little bit connected to StreamYard, to the service I use. So I'm not sure about that, but I hope I get my new MacBook in a bit, and I hope it will be better then. But it could also be to some other solutions. So let's just hope it gets better. All right. So these are the most important things for this little application, and this is how I want to start. Okay, so what is the first line of code that I write now? So I'd like to start with an outside-in test for some of these things. So maybe let's start just with this first thing here. A visitor can see stored examples. And in this most basic MVP, I think about the home page where a user comes and he sees the provided examples. They are stored in the database and the user can just see it. So I would like to start with a test that a user can see this. All right, I try to use this level idea code generation feature a little bit more. Just forget about the shortcut. That's why I have to bring it up like this. And it helps to create you some tests, some specific files. And I'd like to start here with a unit test. And since this is now connected to the home page, I like to give this a name of page home. I like to start with page because I'm going to call all my pages page home, page detail, page contact, whatever. And then I know from the name already that they are all pages, and I like it to be organized like this. So this would be the page home test. Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of this first test here. And yeah, the first thing that I want to test for every page that I create, so I think of the real pages that you have, like the endpoints where you can go and see a few. So I like to always test the HTTP status code. So it returns successful status code. And we need to do these here. Okay, so let's just visit the homepage like this and we assert, I think it's success, yeah, assert successful. So this just means that our page is working, and I like to have this simple test for every page that I have, just to make sure that I didn't forget anything that lead to any problem. So that's just a basic test. Okay, let's try to run it. And see where we go. I already hear that my laptop fan is going crazy, so I really hope my laptop is capable of doing the stream for a little bit longer. What do we have here? Maybe it's complaining about my comment that I made here. So let's. I'm not sure what it is. Turn comment starting line. Do I need to end it? Yeah, I think I probably need to end it. Is it like that? Yeah, okay, let's try it again. Okay, our test passes because, of course, Laravel by default is already returning something for our main endpoint here, and we see the welcome screen. Okay, but let's move on to the next test that I would write here. So we said before that a user can see stored example. So that's already for me and kind of outside-in test that I want to write first. So it shows given code snippets, and I'd like to go with code snippet as my code examples. So now let's see, what do we need for this test here? First, of course, we need to create some. My laptop is lagging a little bit as well, which makes it a little bit more difficult for me to write. Need to create code snippets. Then that's our preparing state. Now we need to act. Now we're going to call, or let's say make an assertion to see snippets. Oh yeah, I forgot something. Call the home endpoint. So in the end, we want to make sure that we see some of the content that we've created, some of these code snippets here on our page. That's what we're going to make the assertion for. And then before that, we need to call the home endpoint. Before that, we need to here store this kind of data so that we have it. Okay, I see the stream looks better now. Okay, that's good. Okay, so let's start here by thinking about how we would write this. So I'm in the party of people thinking about first writing down how we would want this test to look like, and then see how it goes. And also from this outside-in test, we're going to start with just a few from above to see how we want to test this from the outside. But then, of course, on the way, we will probably have to write some unit tests for other stuff that we're going to implement. But I always like to start like this. So I know that I want to create some code snippet, and I think I will have a model called code snippet, and then I want to use the factory on it, and probably the state method to define some state. So what will we have of our code snippet? I think we will have a name called code snippet 1, and what else we have? The content. This will be now the code itself. And yeah, so what could be a snippet? I think I just go here with just a simple variable that we define. So it would look something like this, test, and then we have maybe just test in here. Make sure we encode this correctly. Then we end the statement, and then we end our content. I think something like this. And then we need to create it. So this will give us our first code snippet. And I'll probably go with a second one as well. So let's create another one, code snippet 2, and then let's call the variable test2. Okay, then we're going to call the endpoint. So the response will be this, and then get the home endpoint. And here we're going to make our assertions. So we're going to make sure that we see our first headline, which is the name of the snippet, code snippet number 1. And I also want to make sure I'm going to see this here. So let's just copy it so that I don't have to write it again. Yeah, this will be the first test, and then do more for the second code snippet that we have. That was test 2, I guess. Yeah. Okay, let me just see if there are any comments. I would say I'd go one step further, always start with the assertion of the test. Let me just bring this up. Yeah, that's probably a good point too, because I think that's the main thing that you want to do, and then you have to think about later about how to get there. I guess I'm just used starting with the arranging part, but of course I think it might be also a good solution to just start with the assertion as well. And he also said a language field could be nice for different syntax highlighting. Yeah, so this of course will be also something, but for now I really want to keep it as simple as possible and try to keep it as simple as possible to get some first tests passing, and then the more advanced it gets, that I have already a bit of test that I can rely on, because that's what I see a lot of people doing, getting too much inside their first test and thinking about a lot of things that they have to do in order to make them work, and then it gets really difficult to that it's not getting too complicated. Or at least this is how I like to prefer it. So there will be a lot of things that I need to add to the code snippet, probably to the table and all the other things related. So that's why I like to try to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, so I think this is how I want it to be. Okay, let's just run the test again, and now let's follow our arrows and see what we have to do next. So first, of course, our code snippet is not given. Okay, that's true. So let's create one. Code snippet. And here, let's add a migration and a factory. Yeah, I think this is what I want to do. Okay, my laptop is getting pretty slow. That's really annoying. So, yeah, okay, here we go. And import the class now. It's this one, and of course, run our test again. Okay, what error do we see next? Yeah, yeah, that's true. So we have our welcome page here, and of course we don't see this. But I think there's also one thing that we haven't done yet, because let me just check my PHP unit settings. Yeah, so we're not running tests in memory currently with SQLite. So let's make sure we do this as well. Okay, so let's try to see how we get our code snippets on the homepage. So let's go to our routes file. And yeah, so what do we want to do here? First, what I like to do is I want to get rid of the welcome view, and I want to provide a home view. Okay, but we don't have this yet, so let's just add this. But yeah, that's what I discovered some days again earlier, that you can't make a new view with an artisan comment, so that's pretty annoying. So let's go to our resources, views. I'd like to create here a new directory called pages, and then new file, and call it home.play.php. Okay. And what I also like to do at this point, yeah, as I mentioned, I don't want to make it too complicated right now, but I always work with a component as my layout file, and I want to do this right from the beginning. So this means what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a component. Now, yeah. Oh, this is slow. This is so slow. This is not fun. Yeah, you can see doing this quite a lot. So I'm creating here a layout component, which will also provide me here with a layout component file here. And let's put in some basic HTML. The basic HTML code, and let's call it. Okay, and here we need to have our slot. Dollar slot, yeah, of course. Okay, and now this means inside my home plate file, I can already add this layout component here, and inside here I will have my code. So what I want to do is I want to loop over code snippet that, of course, I need to provide somehow. And still a code snippet. And this format the code. And then, yeah, let's just do an H2 with the code snippet. I guess the name. And then we'll have, I'm not sure yet, but I think probably a pre and then a code tag, something like this. And inside here, we'll have the code snippet contents. Yeah, something like this. I don't know yet exactly, but I also don't care. I just want to make the test pass. So of course we can't make it pass yet because we need to connect it in our view. So let's return our pages home file, and let's also pass in here our code snippets. See here, I'm not yet adding a controller. I will probably do this on the way, but I want to, as mentioned, keep it as simple. And let's just try to make it work like this. Code snippets and give me all of them. Okay, so this means when we hit the endpoint, we return this view. We should already have some code snippets. We loop over them, we add them. And yeah, let's just see what our test says now. It will probably be the same because we still don't see, because we still won't see our code yet. Okay, yeah, that's good. We see a different one. Because we have no such table code snippets here, of course, that's true, because we have not been using our trade here to refresh our database. Okay, let's run it again. Has no column name. Okay, so this gets more interesting because now here we're trying to assign name and content, and we haven't defined this yet in the scheme. I see Kai was asking, is the reason your components for the layout instead of extends? Yeah, I just like the syntax much better. I'm not sure why it's, I think probably because I'm right now a big fan of components and I use them where I can, and this is why I think I like it more. I don't see the too many difference between the normal layers, but I think it's just my personal preference. Okay, so let's go to our code snippets scheme. Create code snippets. Okay, so we need the two fields, which are string with the name. Then we need something for our code. So what do we take for our code? I think I would just go with text for now. You guys have any concerns storing some code snippet in the database with text? I haven't done this, to be honest, so I think I would just give it a try and see if I ran into any problems. But if you already have an idea what would be better, or if this maybe don't works because of anything, but I think it should be fine. Okay, let's go back to our test and see what we see now. So, okay, this looks good. Our tests are passing. Let's just change something to make sure it works because of a good reason. Here, I always try to, if my tests are passing and if I'm not 100% sure why they are passing, I want to make them fail again to see if they're passing for the right reasons, because it happens more than often that they are passing, but because of a different reason. And this can, of course, then lead to a problem. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to execute the snippets anywhere. And Martin is also saying, make sure to encode characters like. Yeah, of course. Okay, good. This is now working, so that's good. So next, what do we know next? Let me think. So we could, of course, right now, if we go to the browser, which I have now on a different side. Let me just get one browser tab here. So this is not what I expected. So why do we see these two snippets now? Because I tried to use the in-memory database. So I think that's probably because I have run the test before, and before that we were using the actual database. So let's just make sure by checking the database. It's up here, but I don't want you to see all the projects that I have here. Okay, that's tricky. So let me just open it up first. Yeah, because sometimes you have clients and not everybody wants to see who you work for, what you're currently working on. Okay, here we go. Code snippets, and here we should see two of them. Yeah, of course. So let's get rid of them again. And just to be sure, I want to run the test again because I want to make sure that no tests are inserting anything in my database. Not that I have to trade, I'm pretty sure, or actually, okay, I'm not. So it seems it was passing. Let me just check this here. So what do we see here? I see our H2, code snippet 1, code snippet 2. Okay. This actually looks good. So let's check again where this is failing. Did I forget to change any of my assertions? No, they look good. Okay, maybe you already see the mistakes. Hey Vince, nice to have you here too. Test 2. Okay, I think I misspelled something here. Yeah, okay. That was just my fault, so I think now they should pass again. Yeah, okay, and we shouldn't see any code snippets here now. Okay, good. So we go back to our list of things that we wanted to implement. Get rid of those sidebars and terminal as well. So visitor can see stored examples. So this is already working from a test point of view. Of course, if we go to the website, we don't see them now because there are no ones in the database. So there are two things that I would normally do next. So the first would be maybe to add a seeder, to add some code snippets to the database so that if I go to the website, I see them there as well, just to have also the UI point of view from the test. And the other thing would be to move on and make sure now the second thing on our list is working so that the visitor can see stored solutions, for example. I think I might go with this for now because, yeah, I'd like to have a test for this as well. And yeah, currently I'm not so interested that I can, already see this on the page. Okay, so now when I think about the stored solution, so in my head, I think like the test that we have already done, I want to have the examples on the main page. And then I think you would click one of them and then you get to a detail page of the code snippet. And I think there you would see the solution. Okay, so let's create another test. And I think I'm just going to copy this one here because it will be pretty much the same. And let's call it page code snippet. So this will the detail page for the code snippet. Okay, let's get rid of this. I don't want to see this again. Okay, let me just make sure. Am I here already in this test? Yeah. So this is now called page code snippet test. And it returns a successful status code. So I want this to be working as well. And I think the endpoint would be something like code snippets. This should fail now because we haven't created this endpoint yet. Yeah. Okay, I'm fine with that. So let's go to our route file and now create a new one, and it will be code snippets. And here it will be a specific code snippet. So I think I would do something like probably route model binding here, and then get here the code snippet ID. And then I would, now I think I would probably start to create a controller because we might need a little bit more for the code snippets detail page. And now I think it makes sense to already create the controller. So let's make a controller and let's call it code snippet controller. Yeah, this is not working because of this error here. Let's try again. And let's add in here our code snippet controller. Add in here the class. And I think for now we're going to make it invocable and just use the invocable method. Let me just get rid of this here. Okay. So endpoint code snippets, we're going to get an ID. We want to get the model for the specific code snippet through route model binding. And then we get here to this controller. Yeah, I could have used the invocable flag, but for creating the controller, this would be a little bit easier, but I forget about that. So snippet again, invoke. This. Always try to use this snippet so that I don't have to run it myself. Okay, let's give our test another try. So here we just want to make sure that we get a successful response back, and we still get a 404. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think we haven't defined any ID for the code snippet that we're actually visiting. So let's see, test, page code snippet test. Yeah, so let's just go for one. Yeah. But now that I think about it, I'm not sure if this is really a good test because it will always fail. Or does it? Or it does not fail. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I think, so why is this passing? I think that's interesting because we're trying to get a specific model, but we don't have any models in our database. So I think that's because I haven't defined it yet in my controller. Let's just make sure. So normally I would now type in the code snippet to get a specific code snippet. And I think now the test should fail. Yeah, okay, now it fails. Okay, yeah, so this means now the 404 must be about Laravel trying to get the code snippet. So it's not a 404 because the endpoint wasn't found. So that's what I think for now. So this means in order to make this test pass, we need to have a code snippet here as well. So probably we just create one so that we can make this pass test pass. Actually, I don't care about the state. I don't, because yeah, for this test here, this data is not important. And like we learned from the talk Kai did at Laracon.eu, we want to make sure that we only show content here that is important for the test. And I agree to that. So I already know that this will fail, but still I want to run the test first and see why it fails and then make my action. So integrity constraint violent because not null exception or constraint for snippet's name. So this means now we have created a factory. Oh boy, this is really annoying how this looks like. But we will make it work. So rid of test as well. So yeah, so this is the main definition for our code snippet, and we need to provide some dummy data. So let's say we have name code snippet, and we'll have some content. And maybe let's just copy. This is the part that I wanted here. Nope. I was already correct. Test snippet, yeah, so test snippet. Yes, like this. Okay, let's try again. So Kai is asking if I'm not using Faker. Yeah, I could, but I don't see any advantage right now. Probably the unique name that Faker would give me would be an option, but as long as I don't see any advantage, I would not do it. I would probably see it on the way, so that's why I prefer it to keep it like that. Okay, let's run the test again. And I think now it should pass. Yeah, it does. Okay, so we have our endpoint and we get a successful response if we have a code snippet. Okay, let's move on. Let's see, we've copied this test. It shows given code snippets. So now we're on the detail page, and yeah, we want to make sure it shows the given code snippet as well. This means we want to create one of them so far, create code snippet. Then the endpoint will probably be something like, how do we name it? Code snippets. /1, yeah, but maybe I go with the idea of the code snippet. I know it will be one, but I think I still feel better using them directly from the code snippet. I think also, if you read it like this, it makes more sense that we want to visit a code snippet and this specific one. Of course, it would work with just using one instead of writing this here, but I think this makes it more clear where the one comes from and that is connected to this test. I think that's important too. And yeah, call the endpoint. Okay, like this, make an insertion to see the snippet. Okay, I think we are ready to run it. So, okay, we are failing because we don't return anything yet for this view. Let me see. There's one more comment. Hey, Krishan. I hope I pronounced it correctly. You should probably use the ID of the created code snippet within the route you're calling. Yeah, I think that was the same thing that I just changed. So I agree here. Okay, so why don't we get anything back here? Let's go back to our route file. So we have our controller, and yeah, we're not returning anything in here. So this means we need a new page. Check the resources, the views, and again, I'm just going to copy our home plate file, and I'm going to call it snippets. Okay, here we go. So let's get rid of this for each loop. And yeah, we'll have our snippet name and the snippet content. And of course, we need to provide it to our file here. So let's return our view. Called pages code snippet. And let's just add in snippet that we should get through out timing. Like this. Oh yeah, this should be an array. Okay, let's try to run our test again. Okay, nice. It's passing now. That's good. So let's think about what would be next here. So that we want to show the code snippet, but we also want to show the solutions other users maybe have provided for the snippet. So let's write a test for that. It shows provided solutions. Okay, what do we want to do? Okay, let me now try to think about the assertion first, like Kai said. So what would be the assertion? Assert we see solutions on the page. Yeah. In order to do this, we need to call the endpoint. And before that, we need to create a snippet and solutions. Yeah. Oh, I pronounced the name better than most other people. Krishan. I hope I said it correctly as well. Said. That's nice. Okay. Yeah. Somehow I don't feel comfortable writing the assertion first. Sorry, Kai. I have to go with my approach. I'm not sure if maybe it's just stuck inside me, and I need to do it this way. So we need a snippet again. So again, we have already some duplicated code here in this test, but I don't care about this yet. So again, I want to make the tests pass first, and then I will take a look at them again and think about refactoring things. There are already a few things that I know I'm going to change, but I try to not think about them now because it only distracts me. So we need a code snippet. Then we also need solutions. So how do we get solutions? Code snippet solutions. We'll probably have a model again. Code snippets solution. We're going to call the factory here again. And then we want to get maybe 2 of them and create them. I'm not sure if I want to, somehow I want to provide some specific data, but let's just keep it like this and see how far we will get like this. Then call the endpoint again. So again, I like to store the response so that I can separate it from the assertion. Get the call to code snippets, and then our code snippet ID from the code snippet that we have created before. All right, and next, let's think about the assertions. So now I think about the assertions that I want to make. Now I can see Kai's point, because here the assertions that I make will determine the data that I need to provide. So from that point, it definitely makes sense to write the assertion first. So let's see, we want to make sure we see something again. So let's start here. So we have already made sure that we see the snippet. So in this case, I don't want to check again if I see the snippet. So this time we want to make sure we see the solutions. Okay, so when we think of a solution will, I think I'm just going to start with just the content. So a solution will only have a content. So I'm going to assert that I see a specific solution, and let's copy this again and just call this custom solution. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I see the content of one of the solutions that I'm going to provide for the snippet. Yeah, so this means I have to somehow define the content of the solution. So there are two ways I could go here. So first I could think about the default values, like I did before, define a default value for a code solution. Then I could just name it custom solution, and I could assert it like this. But of course, if I use Faker, then this wouldn't work. The other solution would be to provide some specific content for the solution and then make sure I see it here. I think this is what I would prefer here. So I think I would try to go with just a solution for now, and call the state method, and then provide a specific content that I want to see, and this should be this here. Yeah, don't need to store it. Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's just run this test and see what we should do next. Code snippet solution not found. Yep, that's true. So let's create it again. Code solution. And yeah, let's add a migration and a factory. Yeah. Again, this takes a while because my laptop is super slow. This is annoying. It's really annoying. But we will make it work. Let me just check the time. Oh, we're already in almost an hour. Okay. That's more than I thought. But yeah, of course I want to. First I thought we'll make it about an hour, but I think we'll try to make the second feature working as well, and then maybe also think about the UI. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. But I think I don't want to make the stream any longer than maybe 19 minutes. I'm not sure if people are still interested, but I'm going to ask you in about half an hour again. Okay, let's import our model. It is slow, super slow. Indexing. Okay, now it's ready. Okay, now we've imported our model. Let's run it again. General table code snippet solution has no column named common. Okay, that's true. Let's take a look at the schema for our code snippet solutions. And let's just add text field with the content. Text content, yeah, like that. Okay. Rerun tests. What is next? Okay, we're already seeing that we're missing the solutions here. Let's just take a look at this page here. We see our code snippet, we see the code, but of course, here we don't see anything else because we haven't added it. So this is also when working from those outside in tests with asserting that you see something. I'd like to start with those tests because they don't push me already in any direction on how I implement this. So I can easily change this to use something like Livewire or any other thing, and most of the tests should still be the same. But what I don't like is I have here a few steps now where we just don't see the content in the page, and this will be the same error for a few things that I have to do now, and the next step will then that it passes. So what I like about TDD more that when you have something, you test it, it fails, you change it, you have a different error, and this leads you then to the next steps. And this is what really pushes you into the right direction and pushes you to go step by step. Now testing just the content could be difficult because you could already think about a lot of other things that you could do and not concentrate on the real issue. And the issue is to make this test pass. Okay, so let's, what do we have to do to make it pass? Let's go to our, already been inside our code snippet, plate file, here we have it. Okay, now we need another loop. So we want to loop over the solutions, and let's just call them now directly from the snippet. So this will be a relationship between the snippet and the solutions. So I think I just call it solutions. Solutions. Solution. And for each okay, I think a little bit of control and gets to not enough memory because I don't see the auto-completion at some points here. Okay, so we're looping over the solutions, and let's just go for another pre-code tags, and then we want to show the solutions content. What's going on, PHP store? I'm not used to type everything myself. Solution content. Yeah, something like this. Okay. Let's go back to our test. Let's rerun it again. Okay, we get an exception of the view because of the for each loop we provided nothing, just null. So that's not what we want to do. So let's see what we're passing here in our controller. Oh yeah, we're passing the snippets. That's good. We want to go to our code snippet model. Class here. So we need to define a relationship now. Called solutions. obviously can't spell. Solutions return has many relationship. Oh, now you're back, PHP Storm. Thanks. So this means we're going to return. This has many. That's solutions. Here we go, and we're just providing class. Okay, I already know that this is not still working, but I want to see the next error to praise the TDD workflow. So let me see if it's the right one. I think it should be about the ID of the code snippet, which I haven't provided to the solutions. No such column. Code snippet ID. Yeah, that's the one. So let's go back to our migration file, code snippet solutions, and besides the content, we will have an integer called code snippet ID. Okay, here we go. And again. Code snippet ID, null constraint. Yeah, so it's null, so this is why this is failing. So it's null because I haven't defined it here. So we have defined the content, but we haven't defined the code ID. And this will be, yeah, code snippet, and that's ID. And let's fix it here. What we're missing, yeah. Clean this up a little bit. Yeah, okay, much better. We run again. And it is failing. Let's see, undefined variable, so solution. I have no idea why we don't notice solution. So let's go back to our blade file. Solution. Yeah, that happens when PHP Storm leaves me alone and I have to write it myself. So and that's probably also why PHP Storm couldn't help me, because I misspelled it right from the beginning. Shame on me. I'm sorry, PHP Storm. It's not you, it's me. Again, you're good. I still love you. Okay, back to our test. Oh, we're passing. This is good. So let's take a look again what is actually passing. So we assert that we see our custom solution snippet here, and that's the one that we have created as a solution. All right, let's run all of the tests. See if everything is green. Okay, it's not. Let's see where we're failing. Test response. Okay. Example test. Okay, here we're testing something. Okay, of course, this is not working because in order to get a successful response from the home endpoint, we need to create our first code snippet. So let's get rid of this test here. Adios. And again. Okay, good. So these first tests are passing. think we can make our first commit. No, it's not. Bip, I'm going to write something. Yes, can see given snippets on homepage and given solutions on code snippet page. I think something like this. Yeah, it's really a healthy relationship I have with PHP Storm. We both make mistakes. Probably most of them. It's me and not him. It also sounds like the relationship I have with my wife. So it's also often it's me who's making the mistakes. But yeah, I hope she isn't watching. Okay, so what do we do next? I think I want to think about refactoring for now. A few things that I want to change. So what's bothering me since the beginning? Let's go back to our first test. The page home test. So yeah, here we have provided the main entry point, and I think we can leave it like this. But especially in our second test, where we have our endpoint for the code snippets here. But this is what I would never want to use, because I want to use route names, of course, because it gets much easier if you want to change this at some points. Still, I tried to push myself not to change it right when I start the test and write the test, and when I implement it the first time, just to be a little bit faster and concentrating on the real issues. Okay, so this means inside our routes file, we want to add a name here. And yeah, how do you call your name? So what I like to do is, I think it often changes for me. So I had a point where I always used something like get code snippets, something like this. So do you have any specific rules for you on how to name those things? Because yeah, sometimes you will end on with get and post requests to the same endpoint, and then you will have to make sure that the name also reflects that some point. Do you have any rules? Yeah, Martin is having a good point here. So yeah, probably would be better to upload my code to my own platform so that other people could help me refactor it, so that I don't have to do it myself. That's a really good point, Martin, and I'm pretty sure I want to do this in the future, but since it's not online and available for everyone yet, I think I have to do it myself, but that's a good point. So Kai says he's using model action. So what would this look like? Something like code snippet. Like this, Kai, is this how you would do it? Yeah, I think this would be also valid. I think it makes sense to go with the topic and what it is about first, and then providing like the action. Yeah, so that's one thing that is a little bit annoying if you have to work a lot on your own, because every new project you're able to change some of the rules you made yourself. And if you work in a company with a few people, this shouldn't be possible, because then you define it once and then you don't have to think about it again. And I always like to have those rules that I don't have to think about things like naming. Yeah, I don't want to think about it. Yeah, it just takes time and it annoys me. So I think I'm maybe going to write down some of those rules for myself, and push myself to use them so that I don't change those every time. And I do change my rules a lot. Okay, the action isn't get, so it's show. My code snippet show. Let me see. So is every route that I'm going to define really connected to a specific model? I think in this case it is. Let me think about other pages that I have for this page. Let's say if I have a contact page, what would you call it then? Just contact show. This is not connected to a specific endpoint. Yeah, I think it's for CRUD, Kai mentioned for CRUD routes, where you have different of those actions like show, store, update, whatever, that makes sense to do something like this. I can agree to that. I think what currently makes most sense for me is code snippets show. I think I go with this for now. And maybe if I end up with more of them here, more names, then I might have to change it. But again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I already spent too much on it. Okay, so let's go back to our test. And here, instead of this here, I want to use now the route helper. And code snippet show. So that's good enough. Laravel IDE, the plugin is already helping me. And how do I pass this in here? I think it's as an array. Let me just see. Is it like code snippet? Probably what I have defined in my route. Let me check again. I think it's probably this. Okay, let me just try. So the moment you hear this, please write a comment so that I can check how much delay is. So from now on. Okay, so it was about 13 seconds. Okay, I just want to make sure how long the delay is. So thanks, Adrian. Okay, so we changed this. Again, after every change, we want to make sure everything is working. That's what we have our test for. And dun, dun, dun. They are failing. So let's see what we have here. Page code snippet test. Let me see. Shouldn't this still work? Response status code 44. Okay, let me see. I might have provided here something wrong. Let me check this again. Oh, it seems like I changed this. Okay, let's. Okay, so this was the mistake. I'm glad it's on this, and now we can move on in our test here. And let's also change this here. Code snippet show, and let's store this to available again. Code snippet. And that's the ID. Yeah, I think like that. Are we green again? Yes, we are. So let me see what Adrian said. If the variable name equals the placeholder route, you can just paste code snippet without wrapping. So that was something that I was asking myself right while I wrote this, if this is possible. So this would be much better. Without wrapping. So this means it should work like this. Let me just try it. Perfect. Again, Adrian is here to help me. That's good. Yeah, this is now much better. It was funny. While I wrote it, I was thinking about if there was a solution, but I then thought, of course, if there are more things you provide could difficult more variables. But I think probably, as he said, probably as long as I only have this one value here, it works. It would be interesting to test if I have. Do you ever have to use two models for route binding for one endpoint? Does it even make sense? No, I don't think so. Yeah, probably not. We have some more comments. Do you ever code side projects without too many tests? Let me see. Yeah, I think I definitely do this. So I think it depends on the project and also how I want to use it. So for the landing page for my new course for Mastering PHP Storm, I just wrote a bunch of pretty simple tests, probably because the site wasn't too complicated. But I already know that this is going to be a kind of platform, and I'm not sure if people are going to like it, but if they like it, I think it can grow and provide many more features. Then I think it definitely makes sense that I start with a lot of tests. And also, I'm currently working on a project where there are not so many tests. And now I really appreciate it if everything is tested, because then all the changes are much easier because of the tests. So that's also why I really like writing those tests, and it helps me also, stay focused. Let me just reformat this. So I totally get it if for some side or dummy projects you don't write too many tests, but I really prefer it this way, and this is fun for me too, so that's why I do this. Oh, Kai said I can remove the ID as well. Okay, let's give this a try. This would be even better. Okay, cool. So Laravel is smart enough to check the ID here. I like that. Oh yeah, Felix said this as well. And Adrian is smiling because he already knew. Okay, cool. So this is now our route names. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to refactor right now. So okay, let me see. I think this is the same as we have here. Yeah, so I think this should be now a duplication. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we could think about, since we're using now duplicated code, to just make a method and just call it once, and so that you don't end up with the duplicated code. But actually here I'm pretty fine with how it is, because with tests you have to think about, when people are looking at the code, looking at tests, they're looking at one test at a time. And if they come here, they say, okay, we're creating a code snippet. Okay, we're providing some specific name and content. We are also creating a solution. We call an endpoint and we make an assertion. So until now, the test isn't too big. So I think this is an amount of code that I'm willing to leave here like this. And this is why I don't mind that I have here the same code here and in another test. But I think probably those tests will grow. Maybe we need to provide some more data, and then I think it would make sense to refactor this to extract the method, or maybe create even one dummy snippet at the start. So, but for now, I think I would keep this. Okay, let me check the other test as well. Is there anything I don't like about it? So here we are creating 2 snippets. Thinking about if it's possible with Laravel to use the factory just one time to create multiple code snippets, but also provide different data. I think it should be possible somehow, maybe with a callback, but I think it wouldn't make sense because the call would be more complicated than just writing out these 2 factories here with the custom code snippets. So I'm talking about these different values. Maybe we could think about just doing this. I think this should work too. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it did. I think it's okay like this. First, I wanted to separate it because, we're first testing the code's first snippet and then the second snippet. But I think it's not too complicated like this as well, and it's good to understand. Okay, so I'm fine with this. Oh, Nuno is here. You're too late, man. You're definitely too late. You have to come earlier next time. So let's go back to our list of things that we wanted to do. A visitor can see stored examples and the visitor can see stored solutions. So the next things that I would do is, an authenticated user can submit a code example and an authenticated user can submit solution. So I think I might keep this for another stream. Let me just check the time. Yeah, so we are almost at 90 minutes. I think we end the stream here now. Let me know how you liked it. I feel like we were pretty slow in the things that we achieved in 90 minutes. So I think it could have been much faster, but explaining everything that I do, reading comments, and then maybe discussing about some of those things takes quite some time as well. But I think that's also what the stream is for. So it's not about being fast. It's about communicating how I code and what you will do differently. And so I think that's more important here. Okay, so thanks everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, please provide some feedback to me, what you liked or what you didn't like. Comment on the video or tweet it on Twitter, or anyhow you can contact me. And thanks for joining on this Friday. I wish you a nice weekend, and probably do another one next week, maybe on Monday already. I think it was fun for me. I think I'm going to think about it again, but okay, then everybody have a nice day and see you the next time. Bye.